Superstars, welcome to the odd couple of real estate investing. Let us know what y'all think about that, man. Let's check AKA Mr.
Don DeRosa.
Don DeRosa. And welcome. This is our first episode, Superstars, for those who will be tuning in via video. Listen, first of all, I just want to say this to you all, let you all know. This has been years in the making.
No kidding.
Years.
No kidding.
Years in the making. And what you're looking at is over a half a century of education, of information. And not just information where we just got it from books, but we both been in the game over 2 decades. A little over that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what this show is all about. We just want to get on here and share what we have done, what we've learned, and help you all get in this business that has been a life change for me. I'll just speak for myself. I mean, it took me from, as you hear people say, he went from sugar to shit. It took me from shit to sugar. That I've had opportunity to travel the world, drive what I want to drive, live what I want to live, eat what we want to eat. And it's been amazing. Don, what would you say about this game of real estate investing?
I agree. I mean, you hear a lot of these people that come up through the ranks that are the speakers of the world, the gurus, and I hate that term, just so you all know. Right. But they always come to you with this rags to riches story. I don't have one of those.
Right.
I'm a Caucasian boy from western Pennsylvania that grew up in a small town and didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth, but didn't really have any wants.
Right.
I got what I wanted, and we weren't rich by any means, but I would consider myself your average person, your average Joe that just decided to do real estate one day.
Right.
That's me.
And that's what we want to tell you. Basically, and my way of saying it, I want to say it was nothing special about us other than this most important piece. We made a decision.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, once, and I tell this to all of my students, it's like, you have to decide, is this something that you want? And the question is, what is your why? And I know that's a question you want to get answered today, is what's everybody's why?
Right.
If you want to go ahead and start with your why, give me like 4 things why you got in this business.
Right. And the number one thing what got me into this business was the money. You always hear individuals talk about, the ultra wealthy. They always got something to do with real estate. And I know I wanted to live a blessed life, or I like fine things. I like nice things. And I wanted to have nice things. And a 9 to 5 from what I pictured on the outside, looking at going to school, went to college, went to Morehouse, and worked in one junior summer program, and I saw how just the structure of corporate America worked. I was like, I can't do this, and I was always ready to look at being a professional tennis player, and that's a whole nother story. But the number one thing that got me in was the money, the high income potential. And then when I learned about wholesale, which that's a whole nother show,
yep.
I'm like, oh, I am in. And I'm here to testify. I'm here to put my stamp of approval. It is more than fulfilled my thirst for wealth.
Oh, no doubt about it. Real estate is, I always say, it's simple, but not easy.
Right.
It's a very simple process. I tell people all the time, I'm not the brightest crane in the box.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I'm in the box.
Right. I like that. I like that.
So, I'm just not the brightest crane in the box.
Right.
And you don't have to be. And that's the beauty of this business is you can, if you can add 2 plus 2 and you can relate to people, literally.
See, he took my number 2.
Which
It's not rocket science.
Oh, yeah, no.
Verbatim, if you can do basic math skills and have people skills.
That's it.
You can do this business.
That's the key. For me, my first one when I first started with this was I worked the 9 to 5. I was the corporate guy that climbed the ladder.
Right.
Right. And I realized that I had no time for my family. And well, I'll give you a very brief story of myself. When I was little, really little, I have 2 older sisters, so there's 15 years difference between me and my next oldest sister. So back then, both of my sisters at that time of everybody got married early, so they were pretty much gone. So I was an only child.
Right.
Well, my dad growing up owned gas stations. Like, he only owned a service station. Like, back then, you pulled up, you never got out of your car. It was no self-serve like you go to
Right.
They washed your windows, they pumped your gas, they did all that. Cleaned your windows, you name it. And he had a heart attack. And the doctor said, not only did he have one, but he had 2. But the second one he had, I remember playing on the floor, and the phone rang, and my mother answered it, and all of a sudden she basically dropped the phone, started crying, picked me up, told my sisters to let's go. Well, he had gone to the hospital. Well, we got to the hospital, and when I was young, when I was that age, because I'm 55 now, kids didn't go into hospitals. You weren't allowed into hospitals at that age. So I was allowed to go in. I thought this was kind of weird. But I walk in and I see my dad laying on a bed with all these tubes coming out of him. And the doctor came in and said, he's had a massive heart attack. There's a chance he won't make it. Well, he no sooner got that out of his mouth than he reached over the side of the bed, put his hand on my head and said, "Don't worry, Mom, I'll be around." And from that point forward, he was disabled because he couldn't go back to work. So he went out and he bought, to make ends meet, one of the things he did was he went out and bought some real estate. Now people always, when I tell that story, people always say, "Oh, that's where you figured that out." I'm like, hell no, that wasn't where I figured that out. I was a kid. For the longest time growing up, even through high school, I thought my dad was a professional golfer because I'd wake up, he'd be golfing. I'd come home, he'd just be coming home from golfing. My friends would tell me, and be like, "What's your dad do?" I'm like, "I don't know." I mean, think about it. Your son knows what you do.
Right.
My kids do now, but when they were young, they didn't know what I did.
It's a funny story. Sincere. Which I first of all, I want to say this to you all also. I've never heard this story side before.
I don't tell it very often.
You got to.
I don't tell it very often.
And again, this is why I call us the odd couple of real estate. Your background, my background, totally different. Not that yes, I'm African American, Nubian, whatever you want to call a black man. I didn't grow up in the projects. However, I didn't realize we was poor until I got older. Because when you're a child, you got what you got.
Yeah.
There is no comparison like today's time where you got IG and Facebook. We saw the Jeffersons on TV, and even thinking about when you just used to mention about going to the gas station, it took me back to Andy Griffin and seeing, what was the guy who worked at the gas station?
Goober.
Yeah, Goober. Pumping the gas and washing the window. For those who don't know, go back and look at Andy Griffin and you'll see what he means. But a lot of gas stations.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
The TV show is black and white for all of you millennials out there.
Yeah, it's not in color. There's nothing wrong with your TV. But the thing is, over by Cascade, actually, not Cascade, other side of town, Chastain, 2 different sides of town, they got full service gas station right there.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. It's added in your gas where they will pump your gas.
Of course, you pay for that.
Yeah. But that was just part of the service back then.
Yeah, that was it.
Some of the customer service that you want now, you got to pay for it. That was just customary back in the day. But what I wanted to say, this is what makes it the outcome. We come from different backgrounds, but we both had a love for real estate and what we want to do for us. And real estate is not a respecter of your color. It don't care what your background is. Like you said, you went corporate, I went athletic by way of pharmaceutical sales without a license. That's a whole other story. But
I have heard you say that.
Yeah. And for those who know, I didn't have a license. I was selling pharmaceutical drugs without a license. You'll catch it in a minute. But that's the beautiful thing about why we can share, because we have 2 different perspectives and what real estate has done for both of us as far as travel, sending your son to college, and even to the point of when we're saying the money, we were just briefly talking last week about cutting the check for your son's tuition and the cost of it. And I was discussing, I think what we said, it was $15,000 to go to Georgia State, and you said your checks is much bigger. He said, well, that don't include housing, that don't include books, that don't include money for this and money for that. And I went home Friday, same day, washing drywall out. Wife told me about it. Let's go to Home Depot. Not we gotta wait. Let's look at the credit cards. Let's put it on this one or let's put it on that one. The real estate allowed me to go there and get it.
Yeah.
Real estate.
Yeah.
And
well,
that's some of the.
You mentioned money.
Yeah.
That I think that would be on everybody's list.
We're talking about your list, though, Don DeRosa.
But money is on my list.
Okay.
Money is on my list.
Okay.
It just has to be number 4.
Okay. See, that's the difference between white and black. See, black people, money number 1. But let's talk about the money. See, when people say it ain't about the money, it is about the money.
Well, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Anybody that says,
money ain't necessary, money ain't all that.
That's because they don't have any.
Right.
Because, you're right. Money doesn't make you happy.
Right.
But it sure makes a lot of things a lot
And being broke
easier.
don't make you happy either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if we had to be choosing between the two, happy or unhappy with money or without money, and this is why I say, as he said, money doesn't make happy. I like to look at money as a lubricant. It helps you slide through life. It helps you maneuver through life. And my thing is, one thing that we're going to discuss is how do you start getting the money so you ain't got to deal with, I wish I can buy a car. I wish I can go on vacation. I wish I can send my kid to this school.
Well, I just did a seminar this past weekend, and one of the things that I said, we talk about a shiny penny. Everybody gets into this business because of the money. Mm-hmm. That's how they start. But you have to have a why. What is your reasoning for getting in it? It can't be just money, because think about if you have a job, you get a raise. That money's great until the next paycheck. Right. And then you're like, okay, well that wore off real fast. So there has to be a purpose. Like for me, my number 1 is family.
Right.
I like the fact that I'm in a profession that if I want to go to Minnesota to see my son play hockey, at the drop of a hat, I don't have to call in sick. I don't have to schedule my days. I just go. I just do it. Right. If we want to go to lunch at,
which we are going to Houston today, just for the record. I already got our appointment.
That's because I'm paying today, right?
Right. Hey, money's 4 on yours. Mine's 1. And I want to add to that, when he's talking about the why, and let's really break it out. What we all want, Don, is freedom.
That's it. That's
freedom.
My number 2. That's my number 2.
Okay, so we found this number 2. Mine was, this is not rocket science. You don't have to be, as he said, the most colorful crayon in the box. But I like how he said it. But he is in the box. You got to have some brilliance, and we all do. And what I like to say is if you can understand basic math and have basic people skill, because this is a people's business. Yeah. Real estate just happens to be the product, but we got to have people skills and be willing to talk to people. And your number 2 again, as you just said?
Freedom.
That's
my ability, freedom for me is the ability to do what I want when I want to do it. We want to go on a Friday and go out on the boat and hang out and do whatever. That's fine.
Right.
Friday's Friday. Everybody likes to take Friday off. But what about a Wednesday?
Right.
What about a Tuesday afternoon? What about a Thursday? Yeah. And for me, that was the family and freedom. I guess they could go 1 and 2.
Yeah. Because that's what you want, the freedom to be able to take care of your family.
So
be a provider.
Because I grew up and I lost my father at 17.
Okay.
So I finally lost him, but it wasn't the heart attack, it was the cancer. So I was 17 years old. So I've gone my adult most of my life without my dad.
Right.
And that is a very important component for me because I don't want to do that. I mean, when it's your time, it's your time.
Right. But you want to be there for your sons.
I want their memories to be of me being there.
Right. And a joyful thing.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's some traumatic stuff to see your father and the gas station.
Yeah.
And I didn't even get to my story with my son. And see here, that's why we're the odd couple. I never knew my father.
Well.
So, and sometimes we can look at from the outside like, oh, he left his father at 17. Oh, he didn't even know his father. Not that we're trying to do a tit for tat, who was the worst, because some fathers in the house, the kids wish they wasn't there.
Yeah.
Wish they never met him.
Yeah.
But we gotta take the cards that we are dealt with, and we threw some back in and say, okay, let me get another couple cards, and that's when you with corporate, you say, okay, let me get rid of these cards. This is not playing the way that I had planned. Let me try these real estate cards, and that's the beautiful thing about this business is whether you want to say it's freedom, whether you want to say it's family. One thing that I love to do now is inspire people and educate people on how I got here. Because this is not theory, this is practicality for us. And nothing as a mentor is more inspiring than when you see your mentee produce.
Yeah, I mean,
that you had an impact on their life.
People ask me, why do you teach? If you make so much money in real estate, why do you teach? Well, I'll tell you grade school.
Right.
I mean, you're how old are you?
Same age, 55.
Okay. So
good year.
So when I was in grade school, they'd give you these standardized tests, right? And then they would try to put you in a box.
Yeah. This is what you're built for.
This is what your profession should be.
Right.
Well, my professions that came back when I took those tests were a school teacher and a home builder or a carpenter.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, as I got older, I'm like, that stuff doesn't pay very much.
Right.
I would be a school teacher today if you could pay me $250,000 teaching.
Right.
I'm like, other than that, I have no desire to go in front and not make any money at it.
Right. And see, and
but
that's
I enjoy
the thing.
teaching.
Right. And that's the thing with our society. And I understand why, again, being a former athlete, I understand why LeBron or KD or even, your top golfers get because of sponsorship. Ain't nobody sponsoring, ain't nobody paying, $1 million to watch a teacher teach.
And they're some of the most, my wife's a teacher. And I don't want to say it's the most unappreciated because all of our students and our parents appreciate what she does.
All?
Maybe not all. But most. But they don't get compensated for the
impact,
the value that they bring to the table.
They're raising the next generation because most parents aren't even training their kids.
I mean, we pay an athlete at a minimum before they even. I mean, the fourth string quarterback of a football team that doesn't even see the light of day makes over $1 million.
But again, it's the sponsorship, and that's the part that we can't. If we can ever figure out how do we perceive value other than the government. Because we paying it with taxes anyway, as far as our teachers and things of that nature, and we're gonna say that for another show, because of time. And as y'all see, we love this. And again, we're the odd because we got so many different perspectives on it. So I'm gonna go on to number 3, and my number 3 was very little risk, as far as especially from this side where I came into this business, which is called wholesaling. As I said, we'll get into that topic a little later, where you don't actually own the property. You really just get it under contract, and you sign your contract or do what's called a double closing. But your only risk is your time. You don't have to put no money. We may put down $10, and that's literally.
Yeah.
And some people want to ask for $500,000, but the risk in comparison to buying a McDonald's.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
I always tell people my first couple deals. How'd your first deal go?
My first deal.
How'd you
like
find
this.
it? How'd you get it?
Okay.
People always ask me that question. I'll tell you mine after we're done.
Okay.
Here,
My very first deal, and you may remember Sean Hammond. He was part of Georgia Rear. He was one
I
of the
remember the name.
Yeah. He started getting some little stuff with him later on down the road. But my wife had a red Celica. I had read in the book, Ron's book, about putting the magnetic signs on your car.
Yep.
Lady ran out into the street. She saw it and said, "Stop! I need some help with my house. I'm about to lose my house to foreclosure."
So you put like a $50 sign on the side of your car.
Later, almost ran a lady over. Could have had a vehicular homicide, but I stopped in time. The brakes was working that day. You heard me say that day. No, never had that major problem brakes. But stopped, and she said, "I need to sell my house." I said, "What's going on with it?" She said, "It's about to go to foreclosure." I called up Sean, my first how would I call it? Unofficial mentor. Got him on the phone, got him on the phone. Sean, she said she's about to lose it to foreclosure. He said, "Well, how much is she behind?" And then She said, I think it was $34,000, but it was like a $200,000 house over in the Cascades, nice brick house. And he said, well, if we was to keep it from going to foreclosure and give her some moving money, I said, would she take that? If we was to take over your mortgage, verbatim, take over your mortgage and give you some moving money, would that be okay? She said, well, I gotta have something for my house. I said, because I read around, what's the least you'll take? If I was to pay all cash, I still own
Follow the script.
Yeah.
Follow the script.
She said, if I can get 5 to 10, 5 to 10, so you said 5, so you like, okay, go cut that in half. She said she can get 5 to 10. He said, tell her we'll give her $2,500 when we take it over, and $2,500 when everything is cleared out. And that's how my very first deal went.
Really?
Verbatim, even to the point, now I got to get out of the contract. Okay?
So that wasn't even considered a wholesale. That you bought that thing, subject
to out of a foreclosure, but he took it.
Okay.
Right.
So he gave you
$5,000 for
like a finder fee.
Yeah,
like a wholesale fee.
like a wholesale fee. So my wholesale fee was a little more complicated. That's why I tell people it's how you put the deal together, and if you pass it on, it's wholesale, regardless of whether it's subject to, short sale.
Even on day one, you had someone like a mentor or a coach.
That's my point.
That makes a big difference. I had the same thing.
That's my point of my very first deal. I had an unofficial wholesale.
Yeah, me too.
Because he was at we know we got another associate who owns another RIA group, but it was a RIA group before this RIA group here in Atlanta. Right. And he was known around. He said, hey, take my number, blase, blase. If you ever got a deal you're working on, you need some help with, call me. So, AKA wholesaler bird dog in the beginning.
Right.
And but one thing I'll say to you, that's how the very first deal went. The first couple of deals went. But then I was able to go to Ronald Grant's course, which is both of our mentor.
Yeah.
And the game was over after that. Once I got the information and I believed in it, and I had already had some success with it, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Once you know that you know, and you understand the system, it's over.
One of the things I try to instill in any student that comes to me is I don't care how much money you make on your first deal. I want you to make that deal happen quickly, because you've got a whole subconscious going on. If you're used to making $30,000 a year and you go into a room and somebody tells you can make $100,000 your first year doing real estate with no money down, your conscious mind believes that, but your subconscious mind has a tendency to go, yeah, okay.
You're getting deep on them, though, Don. You're getting deep on the subconscious mind. But I understand what you. I know you're going.
But my point is
that shut up check.
Yeah, you got to get that. You got to get that check quickly. So a wholesale type deal where you can get in, get out, is perfect.
Right.
Because there's no barrier there. There's no barrier of cash,
credit,
nothing.
Credit, no tenants, no toilets, and you're absolutely right. I tell people, we get the shut up check because I've had several students, even in this office right here. One gentleman in particular, Superstar D husband, came in, had his gun. She was training with me, paying me $1,000 a month. And he set his gun on the table. Said, so what my wife paying y'all this money for? It's been 6 months. Y'all ain't closed no deal yet. You know, like, what's really going on? You know, them eyes, and I had my locks there. Like, I was suited. He like,
yeah, I still need to see the dread.
Look, you see the phantom dreads. You know how they say the guy arm get cut off. You still see him phantom wise.
Yeah, if you see him for the first time, he doesn't have dreadlocks, but I've known him for, I don't know, decades now. And they were down to his waist.
Right.
But I think, as time goes on, the hair tends to recede.
Yeah. I don't know about all that part, Thank God for dark and lovely and some powder to cover up some spots. But that's the beautiful thing of this business, Don, is, as you said, I tell people when I'm as far as a peak performance and mindset coach, that check gives you confidence.
Yes,
and
that's my point.
It's that shut up check, as I was saying. Dee had to get that shut up check for her husband, but we need him sometime.
Yeah.
Even though we going through the motion, like, is this really going to work? I see Don DeRosa. I see this guy. I see the people at Atlanta RIA. And
yeah, that's my point. My point is your conscious mind sees all that, and your conscious mind believes that, but you got to prove it to yourself.
Right.
Without getting too deep there.
Yeah.
But like my first deal, my first real estate course was Carlton Sheets' course.
Everybody had bought Carlton Sheets stuff.
Yeah, and it was, I was working for Airborne Express. It was an air freight company at the time, and I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I bought this course, put it out on the floor. I thought I was going to be the next millionaire in 30 days. That was back in 1991. and put it on the shelf and didn't pick it up again until 1997 when I was cleaning out my garage.
6 years later, Don.
Cleaning out my
Shelf help. So you ain't bought some shelf help.
Yeah. So I was cleaning out my garage, and lo and behold, the first box I opened was Carlton sheets. And I'm like, oh man, because I'd forgotten all about it.
Right.
So I started listening to it. I didn't, at the time, they were in cassettes. I didn't even have a cassette player, so I had to go out and get a CD player to convert them, the whole nine. Started listening to them. Didn't really like, it's not that I didn't like it. I just didn't believe what I was hearing.
Right.
Because one of the concepts that even today people build is you go buy this, and then you take the equity or leverage of this, and you go down and get another loan, and you get this one. I don't teach that at all.
Right.
Because I think that's, number one, you're putting all your credit at risk.
Right.
And
it's suicidal.
It is. It can be.
Right.
It can be.
Right.
Not to mention it's limiting because you're only going to do a handful of those before the bank literally says,
cut you
sorry,
off. Right.
Can't.
Right.
So anyways, I would listen to it because I didn't know any better. So I started driving around, met this guy who I thought was a motivated seller. Turns out he was a real estate investor. Turned me on to a seminar and a local RIA group, and went to see Ron LeGrand at an hour-and-a-half speech. Thought it was amazing. I walked in there's 1,000 people in this room.
Right.
And I'd never seen anything like it in my entire life. Here there's this, remember this is 1997. There's 1,000 people in this room. He gets done with his hour and a half and says, okay, anybody who wants my stuff, come to the back of the room. It was like they were trampling each other. I've never seen 3, 4, 5 people deep trying to give, and they're literally throwing credit cards over everybody. And I'm like, holy cow. So anyways, so I went to the Saturday. That was just to get to his Saturday.
Right.
So I went to the Saturday, bought his courses, and it cost me $1,500 for that education. You have them here. I just saw.
Right.
We call it the red, green, and blue
Right,
course,
right,
but
right,
it's
right.
a wholesale lease option and owner finance course.
Right.
Well, he taught me a technique that you did on your first deal, which was buying subject to.
Right.
It's where somebody gives you the deed to your house. So the advice he gave me was go put an ad, and at the time it was the biggest newspaper was the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and put an ad in the newspaper that said, we buy houses, and then your phone number. And I was like, okay, man, who the hell's gonna, I mean, I looked at the newspaper, and there was probably 60 people in there that had the same ad.
Right.
Like, who the hell's gonna pick me out of all this? But I did it anyways. And that first week, I had one investor call me. He had 4 houses, and I bought all 4 of them. I put all 4 of them under contract. He wasn't behind, but he was a burned out landlord. Wasn't behind, and I bought each one of those for $1 earnest money each. Took them over subject to. And I did a tabletop closing where we went to Waffle House and did all the paperwork, and then went to the bank or where, I don't know where we got it all notarized. So I didn't even go through a closing. Now, those of you listening, I don't recommend that nowadays.
Right.
But back then, I didn't know any better.
Right. And again, it was kind of like what we was taught also. And as far as doing tabletop closing. You know, we had the CYA letter in the program. And this is the thing, we want to share these things with you. As again, we're going to, with time, you should get better. You know, now we wouldn't have paid that price of having title work and title insurance because we didn't check all that stuff back then. Sign and run.
No, I mean, we were, as they say, running naked with that stuff.
Running gun, almost like you're playing basketball. No rules, just
nothing.
Next 2 win.
and if you're listening, hear us loud and clear. We do not recommend that now.
No.
It's like do as we say, not as we did.
Right, because we know better now.
Yeah.
And takes us to point 4 for me with that is reason I love real estate and getting started with. I didn't need a license. I didn't have to go be a realtor. I didn't have to go pass this test. And now, you know, I even understand more some of the things that handcuff you when you are a realtor in comparison to when you are an agent. And people ask me all the time, maybe you can answer this question, you know, should I get my license? I tell people, I say no. However, you can't have both. You just got to disclose it.
Yeah,
and,
people get really worried about that.
Right.
And you have people on both sides of the fence. You have people that say, I want to. The question you have to ask yourself when you're going to make any decision is, why?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of it?
And it shouldn't be this one question. I want to keep my commission. I want to fix and flip, and I don't want to keep I want to keep my own commission on my own prop. No, you're doing it for the wrong reason then.
Yeah. And
unless you're gonna be a big developer.
And then some people will say, well, I want access to multiple listings so I can do comps and all that. With the technology of today, you don't need any of that.
Right. Right.
You don't need any of that.
Right. And that's a subject matter we can talk about because with PropStream, the MLS, and
They
I want y'all to say
though.
that.
They changed it. Did you know they changed that?
Yeah. You mean change it back?
Yeah. Well, the whole reason
they took it away.
Yes,
but they brought it back.
Those of you that are out there listening and you understand what we're talking about. PropStream is a service that provides comps and data and
a whole lot
of data. Great service.
So one of the top things that have happened in last 2 years.
Yeah.
As far as technology,
PropStream's been around for a while.
But I'm talking about as far as us having access to it.
Yeah, but what they did was there's about a handful of states. There's about 12 states.
Non-disclosure states.
Yes, non-disclosure. So what that means is those states, they don't disclose to the general public what houses sell for, any details.
Right.
Well, I think what happened was a lot of these services, a lot of these data services like PropStream and all these other ones, they pull data from all the same source. Well, when they wrote that code originally, and again, I'm speculating, but when they wrote that code in there, they didn't anticipate, they just wrote it for everybody. Well, PropStream, when these non-disclosure states said you can't share that data, well, they had to take it all down so that nobody got it. Well, I think what they did was they went back in and rewrote the back end of it, and now are offering it back, that same data back to the disclosure states like Georgia.
Okay. Is there a fee for it? Because I haven't even paid no attention. Okay. No. It's just automatically back in there.
It's back in there now.
And those are things that we're going to bring you the latest and the greatest information that's going to be beneficial. But I will even say this, Don, and get your take on this. That ain't even that serious about when we just trying to pull a comp. Whatever we see that was a retail, even if it came from the public record, that's enough. Yeah. And then what you do with what's that site I always Zillow, you don't even need it.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people for years I've pulled, before I even became a customer of PropStream, I pulled data from Zillow and all my comps from Zillow, and people go, oh, that's inaccurate. And I used to literally in the seminar, I'd pull $1,000 out of my pocket, put it on the table, and I said, I'll guarantee you, if I'm wrong, I'll give you this $1,000. But what people were realizing, didn't realize, is they were taking it off of the Zestimate.
Right. Which that is wrong.
That is wrong. Right. So if you're looking at Zillow and they're providing sold comps, or in Zillow's case, they're the little yellow houses or little yellow dots.
Right.
Those are sold prices. Those are actual sold prices. Those are accurate as multiple listings. They're public information.
But they just took the whole 10 of them and just divided by 12 instead of
looking
at
what they were doing is they were looking, when they came up with that argument, they were looking at the Zestimate. And I would agree 1,000%. If you're looking at a Zestimate, you don't know what goes into that Zestimate. It's an aggregate of data that you have no idea. It's the age-old thing, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
If you're putting garbage in and you don't know what's going in, guess what you're getting on the outside. But you do have to pay attention to that number, because the seller that you're dealing with on a daily basis and you're negotiating with, they're going to see that number.
Right.
That's how a lot of sellers base their decision on what their house is worth.
Right.
Well, the value of my house is $250,000. Well, how did you base that?
Right.
Well, that's what Zillow says it's worth.
Right. But then, just like when you go into Zillow, I'm using the word manipulate, but you play with the different settings to find a particular area, 1/2 mile radius, not just everything that's sold.
No. You gotta think like an appraiser.
Right.
You know, you have to take into consideration your due diligence and all of the stuff that goes in it, like plus or minus 20% of the square foot.
Right.
If you go beyond 20%, it's probably not a comp. It's outside that number.
See, and just for the record, this show, and I'm gonna have to do this. You know how you have a translator. Don is high tech. He's a great teacher, and my thing is to make it as basic as possible, because that's how his mind works. And again, when you talk about 20%, or we building at $165 per square foot, you're like, okay, how much is it going to cost to cost? How much is this? And that's what I'm gonna break down because he's a great instructor. That's why I say we're the odd couple. Even when we come to marketing, he's high tech, I'm high touch. Even from our mics, I don't know if the mics sound different, but he came on. Oh, I got this mic now. I got this headset now, and that's what makes the world go around is having people that operate in their strength, and that's one of the beautiful things that we have here. So back to my number 4. No license required because I'm a renegade, and I'm like, okay, I ain't getting no license. And Don, I know we're coming up on a 35 minute mark. What's your number 4? I know it was money. Income.
My 4 was income. My fourth one was
so
income.
what are your 4? Cause we missing one, aren't we? Okay.
I put.
Well,
yeah, I didn't give you my number 3.
Okay, what's your number 3?
My number 3 came down to generational wealth.
Okay, all right.
You know, I want to be able to leave my kids something.
Right.
You know, I told you I lost my father when I was 17.
Right.
So my mother passed 2009.
Okay.
Now, I don't tell this story much, but my mother's entire existence after my father died, she survived literally on rental income.
From those houses.
I mean, that's how she lived. Now, as time went on, because by the time she passed, those houses, hate to say, were like slumlord houses because she just didn't have the wherewithal to keep them up. And me being in Georgia and her being way up north, I couldn't get involved either because I didn't see them from day to day. So by the time we sold them, there wasn't a lot of money left. We sold them to people like
us.
Like us.
Right.
Because I told my sister, I'm like, just get rid of them. I don't need the money. It's too much of a headache. They don't need the money. Just get rid of them, right? And that's the motivated sellers that we're all trying to get, anyways.
Right.
So I didn't have a huge inheritance from my mother, from my whole side of my family.
Right.
And I said to my wife, that's going to change for our 3 kids.
Right.
And that's why I do real estate, because I want to be able to do what my father didn't have a huge, he only had 4 houses. He had an apartment, he had a duplex, he had a commercial building, a laundromat, and he had 2 duplexes, a single family home, and a laundromat.
Y'all see why we're the odd couple? He said all he had. You know how many houses my mother had? None. No commercial, no duplex, no. And again, it's all about our perspective, what we've been exposed to. And that's one of the beautiful things about real estate. We can expose our children to so much stuff.
But he bought these because he could. I mean,
I understand that.
He couldn't go out. He didn't have a job, so he couldn't go borrow money. I found out when I was in my 40s, he owner financed all of these.
But he still had to have that knowledge, the entrepreneurship to figure that out.
Yeah,
some kind of way he got it from.
Exactly. I don't know. I think, I honestly don't know.
Right. But again, there was some brilliance there because he did that.
He was a smart man.
Right.
Yeah, he was.
He had a gas station. He owned a gas station.
He was a smart man.
Right. And that's sometimes also, and we're not getting into parenting on this because this is about real estate. But one thing we wanted y'all to understand is that we want y'all to understand that the real estate is our vehicle, but we're real people who have real challenges, real life stuff, and that's what we want y'all to understand, that this real estate with the income, as we said, freedom, it helps us to deal with those things. And sometimes we just have to step back, and we want this show to be a show that you can come to. You're going to be inspired, educated, elevated. We're going to give you an opportunity to work with us, but also you're going to hear stuff about just real life.
Yeah, I mean, with me, I'm what you see is what you get.
Right.
I mean, I said this the other day at the seminar. I said, I don't want to classify myself like Albert Einstein in certain ways, but in like fashion sense.
All right.
If my wife did laundry every day, or I did laundry every day, I would wear the same shirt every day if I put it in my drawer on top. Because I just don't think of things like that.
Right.
I grab what's on top.
Right.
So I've had people at seminars going, that's the same shirt you wore last week. And I look down and go, yeah, you're probably right. Because those are things I don't think about. I'm also one of these guys that I could literally drive an 8-hour trip with nothing on, complete silence. because the way my mind works is I'm constantly thinking and changing and doing things inside my head. I have conversations going on inside my head about what needs to be done, always.
AKA self-coaching. And there's nothing wrong with that, Don. And the thing is, that's one of the things that, especially in today's time, and again, I know this is a real estate show, is that we got to be okay with us being okay. As long as we happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And our society right now is so wanting to program individual that everybody else's opinion matters. You post a picture, how many likes did it get?
Yeah.
We post a video. Even us with this new YouTube channel and new blog, yeah, we're gonna look at the numbers, but as long as we're doing something that we enjoy.
I did my first TikTok yesterday.
I heard.
I did my first. And I'm actually looking at it going, I got 500 views. Is that good? My son's like, yeah, that's pretty good for your first one. I had nothing else out there. So
right. It's a new world. But the thing is, we want to put you in a position that you can create the world that you want to create while we even existing in this world. So Don, we this is why we say real estate, and I would boil it all down to, it's really the freedom, the financial freedom, the freedom to do what we want to do, and also, as you said, to lead that generational wealth. And one thing that I've come up with, we got to give them the skill to go along with the stuff.
Yes.
Because if
Agreed.
we leave them the stuff, but don't give them the skill set to manage it, it's going to be a mess.
Well, you have a saying all the time, and I steal it all the time, but I do give you credit.
Okay.
You always say, in order to get your money right,
Right.
you got to get your mind right.
Got to get your mind right.
And probably one, I don't know if that's a unique saying to you.
Yeah, that's unique. That's mine. That's official. That's official.
But I use that all the time. And it is probably one of the best statements ever made. Because money is, we all need money. I don't care who you are.
Right.
Right?
Right.
To what that degree is depends on the person's ambitions and what they want out of life. But we all need money. We all need groceries. We all need a place to live. We all need things that we like.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we also want to be happy and we want to enjoy life. So if you had to prioritize, money, in my opinion, may not be your first one, but to a lot of people, that is. Because without it, you don't have the opportunities to get the family and the fun things to do to create those memories.
Right.
So even though for me money was number 4, without the money, I wouldn't be able to take the trips, do the things that I like to do.
Cut the check for the college.
Right.
He'd have been going to college here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, playing floor hockey instead of real hockey.
That's right. That's right.
And that's the thing with it. And again, one of the things that I'm gonna enjoy about this show is that we can have our own ideology or what number this need to be without becoming divided. And our society has come to a point of, if you're not on my exact stamp, if you're not on my soapbox, as they say, you're my enemy.
Yeah. I find myself, you got all the social media out there, TikTok, Instagram,
Facebook,
YouTube, and
LinkedIn.
Everybody's got their platform.
Right.
Don't ask me why, but I'm like, if we just treated people like you want to be treated, it would be such a different world.
And what I think that boils down to as we start wrapping this thing up, most people are not happy with themselves.
Exactly.
Now, we get to do something we enjoy.
Yeah.
That's, as I was sharing my morning call this morning, had one of my associates fly in who I do peak performance coaching for, and he's figured out what he want to do. And really it's for us, but you kind of the technology guy. He's going to do the unboxing for guys. It's called 5 and 50. 5 minutes on how do you hook your mic up to you want to do a podcast, but you don't know how to hook your mic up to your MacBook Pro, or you got this, or which headset do you get? What side do you put up? Where's the plug for your new 13 phone? How do you hook your AirPods up to it? Because those of us over 50 who haven't put the time into it, we lost. Yeah. But you give it to a baby, literally a baby who can't even talk. It know how to stroll up and push down because they born with it. We weren't born with this. That's why I'm always like, Don, I'll be in awe. So you probably be on this show But that's what he's worked for Apple.
Okay.
And he just loved the technology stuff, all facets of it. And almost like you when it comes to, Don has a course that teach you how to run your whole business of real estate from an iPad. You can see he's got his iPad right here. Those who are not here, I called Don before I go by. These are boxes over here of all my Apple products. Don, how do I work it? Cause see, that's the funny part. We got these tools, but we don't know how to use them.
You do have one thing right there that I don't have, and I'm shocked that I don't have that.
This?
Yes.
You know what it is?
I know what it is because you showed me.
Yeah. The Aura Ring. We're probably going to try to get some sponsorship for this. And it's technology to tell you about your sleep pattern and things of that nature. And that's not an Apple product, but I kept the box because it looked like Apple product.
Yeah, it does, but that is one thing that I've been intrigued with that I have not to get off topic.
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. You know, it's all about exposure. And I just happened to be in a hotel and a guy was telling me about it. That's how I got exposed to it. And they've actually come out with another one now. And I'm like, it's almost like, do I go from my 10 to the 13 or my 11, you know? Do I get better pictures? No. But it registers your sleep pattern, if you work out, stress level, let you know if you recovered from the night before. And also when you're sleeping, it lets you know the different realms. And superstars, as I say, you know, I want to premier peak performance coaches. And the thing is, people, when we get on this path of making ourselves better and coaching, we always looking for the edge.
Yep.
And so that's what this stuff is. But the thing is, one of the things that I want to warn you all of is get started. Because so often you try to make it perfect before you just making progress.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about life is not beating yourself up, because you, as one of my speaker friends, Dr. Stan said, you can't beat yourself up, you beat yourself down. You know, metaphorically, you think about that, beat yourself up. No, you don't beat yourself up, you beat yourself down. And as Don said, you got to be able to self-coach yourself and make yourself a priority, and all the other pieces will fall in place. So I'm going to wrap that up on my end. Again, why real estate for me, number one was the money. I put money right up there with oxygen. It's right up there with oxygen because it's hard to live without it, even to have a simple, basic life. We're not talking about whether you're riding Bentley, but you got to have bus fare. You know, but who want to be on the bus for 16 hours, you know, going back and forth to work? I'm not knocking it, but I will say this, you do have a choice.
Yes. You
do have a choice. Number two, you don't have to be an A student, because if I had to be an A student or a B student, you just had to be C. See your way through. You know, just if you just got through, you can do this business. From
the words of my son, C's get degrees, Dad.
Right. And the A's and the B's work for the C's. That's been said, and it's true. Because I've actually had somebody who actually graduated from the Wharton School of Business work for me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And doctors and you know, attorneys come to us about real estate.
I was just going to say, I have doctors, I have attorneys, I have professionals come to me every day.
Right.
And say, look, I don't like my profession, I want to do real estate.
Right. And even that, the insurance that a doctor pays today, when I say very little risk, the risk is minimum compared to other professions that even can shake a stick at our income that we make over here. And again, if you could just make 6 figures a year, we're talking about $100,000. Do you understand that less than 10% of our society makes $100,000? And that's because we on this side, that's no money for real estate. Your average good flip is $50,000.
My average is $50,000 to $70,000.
2 deals a year. And lastly, no license required. He doesn't need a license to do that. Doesn't need a license to do what I do. So that's why real estate has been for me. And over the last 2 decades, I haven't found anything better. I mean, touros out there buying trucks and everybody doing this. I'm like,
to me, that's work. Yeah. It is work. I mean,
I'm not knocking it. Listen to me.
I'm not knocking it.
One of the things
easier ways to make money.
But again, if that's what you know and that's what works for you, so be it. Yeah. So I'm not discrediting it. I'm just saying what has worked for us, because this is what we've done.
Yeah, I'm not knocking. I don't want to come across as knocking. Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you're going to put forth the effort, you know, at least open your eyes to something a little more little friendlier.
Right.
Not as much work.
But that's because we got the experience of it, Don.
True.
You know, somebody standing on the outside,
True.
especially when they got the show, they pulling up in their Lamborghini talking about, I got 52 cars. And
Well,
they,
you know,
we're going to say that for another show, Don. We're not going down there.
Before we leave. Yeah, don't get caught up in all that hype. That's a bunch of bullshit.
See, I said, he said, fuck the hype.
It
See,
is.
that's this Mr. Tycoon over here.
It drives me nuts when somebody walks up and folds out a bunch of $100 bills and lays across the hood of a Lamborghini. You don't know if they own that thing or not.
Right. Just don't get caught up in the hype. Do your, as we do in real estate, do your due diligence.
Do it for you. What's most important to you? What do you want out of life? You know, what is your why? I'll leave you with this. Answer this one question. That's all you need to do. Is what is your why? Why are you going to do real estate? What is your why? And if your why is strong enough, you're in the right place.
Right.
You're in the right place. Right. So let me ask you this. If they need to get anything from you, where do they go?
You can go to IG first of all. So we're talking about social media. You can go to IG. I am Mr. Tycoon. I am Mr. Tycoon. And for your wholesale needs, go to IreallyDoThisShit.com because I really do this.
That's the actual name?
Yeah, IreallyDoThisShit.com. Because I got tired of hype also. So I feel your pain, Don.
Yes.
I feel your, especially Atlanta's a big city.
Yep.
But we know some people in this city who ain't doing what they say they do.
Yeah. No
And
doubt.
again, I have no problem with the word guru. Because a guru is just a person who's an expert. No, there's a lot of fraud out there. They just taking the title of guru.
Yeah, that's
the problem. Because they're bad pastors. There's bad politicians.
Yeah.
So only because you're a politician don't mean you're bad. Only because you're a pastor bad. Because we see. But that's what we like to highlight in our society.
Yep.
Is all the bad guys. So we ain't gonna change the terminology because you got guys like myself sometimes say, you know, I'm not your guru, I'm the guru. So now you gotta say I do this on top of the. Well, you ain't no guru if you don't do it or if you haven't done it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a fraud.
Yeah.
As the Bible said, there will be people who come in my name, snake oil salesmen. They've been here since. That's where the snake oil salesman came from. Used to be in the wagon.
Yep.
Drink this, and you'll lose weight. Do you know they still selling that stuff today? The same commercial, the same concept, because people.
Different. Just a different bottle.
Because people want something for nothing.
That's right.
And whether that's this business, whatever business, and we can tell you here, this business, as we said,
Simple.
it's simple. It's not easy, but there is some knowledge that's necessary, and you got to be willing to sit down and learn it, and then implement it. And as you said, if your why is not strong enough, you won't have no staying power. You won't have no stick to itness, as I like to say.
Yep.
When things aren't going smooth, when the leads aren't coming in, when that rehab's not going well, but you know I can work my way through this. Mm-hmm. As Ron said, if you hold on to a bad deal long enough, it become a good deal.
That's right, and that's true.
Right.
That's
but
true.
you got to have that ability to hold on.
Yep. All right. So Instagram again. What was it again?
I am Mr. Tycoon, or IreallyDoThisShit.com.
All right. And for me, if you want to get any information, you can go to expertrealestatecoaching.com. It's my forum. You can sign up. It's free to join. We also do a property protege coaching group. You can go there and check that out. Or if you'd like to get on my Instagram or any of my social media, just go to donderosa.com.
Real simple, real simple, real simple. And stay tuned. We got some stuff coming out. We're going to do something then.
We didn't ask him. Tell us what you think we should name this show.
Yeah, we're
going to call it The Odd Couple right now, but...
The Odd Couple of Real Estate. He really ain't feeling that. And so you got to be a little older, seasoned like us. You know, you got to be a little seasoned like us to remember the show, The Odd Couple. You know, Felix, and then there was one guy, he was all tailored up, then the other guy was like the...
So which one am I?
As you just said, you're with that same t-shirt. You would not see me in the same suit at an event. You're like, okay, did I see him in that suit? No, I'll be looking at my suit, going back. Listen, I'm so bad, I would go back through my IG picture, say if I had that suit on within the last month.
I might, if I did laundry yesterday, I might have grabbed the same shirt I wore yesterday. People go, didn't you wear that yesterday?
Right. It's almost like
I probably shouldn't admit that, but you know, that's me.
But again, it's almost like, and again, I heard a science to it that, you know, me concerning myself, what socks do I have on? Am I going to wear my Gucci shoes? Am I going to wear my Louis Vuitton? I'm going to have these socks on. I'm going to wear this on. Friday
Yeah,
event.
yeah.
I'm gonna wear this on
Yeah, he
Saturday.
said he was going to buy me a Louis Vuitton belt, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, you can do that, but chances of me wearing it.
Look, it'll be like when I rushed up my equipment, it'll be like, Don, put your belt on. it'll stay in
And I, just for the record, I do have a whole closet full of clothes.
I know, but do you know this? And again, I'm not sure who it was, and it wasn't Tony Robinson, but they were just talking about some high performers. They all wear just black. They buy like 6 black shirts, or they buy like 7, because they don't want to spend their time thinking about that. That is not productive decision making. Because we only get to make, science is proven, we only get to make several cognitive decisions a day. So they want to save it for business, not for them. Basic shit of what color my shirt up. No, I'm trying to figure out how we get this plane to the moon. Don trying to figure out how do we put this crossbar up, take out this ceiling and make this ceiling stay up.
I just want to get dressed so I can move on with my day.
Right,
I don't really care what I wear.
Right. And again, how I do it, I do everything the night before, about 10 minutes. I don't spend a lot of time with it. That's why I don't wear ties, because I like this tie, that tie. But again, you got to figure out what works for you. And that's one thing.
We will be having an event coming up. I think, what month did we say we were?
It is in April. We haven't got the date yet. But April, and it's going to be like the real estate extravaganza. We're going to talk about trust. We're going to talk about fixing and flipping. Wholesaling. Subject to, which we're both masters at. It's just sharing insight, and give you an opportunity for some of you all. We give you an opportunity to work with us. If you want to do a fix and flip, we're going to give you an opportunity to work with us. Now, I want to say this. We did talk about money. We got in this business for money. So this is not a nonprofit organization over here. If you want to play with us, you got to pay. You got to pay to play. But one thing that you will get from this show is information that has been time tested by us. It's not theory, it's practicality. It's what we've been through, what we've grown through, and what we've gained. So let us know 2 things. Number 1, how long y'all want the show? 30, 45 minutes, hour? And
yeah, we're at 54 minutes right now. That kind of flew by.
Yeah, that flew by. And again, once a week, or would you like a twice a week show? And lastly, the number 1 thing, help us come up with a name. Or do you like the odd couple of real estate? Everything Ivy, a real estate investor, because he loved to fix and flip them. I just love to flip them. And see, even that term flipping, it can be used in a wholesale manner, but it's also used in the fix and flip side. And got a lot of exciting stuff coming to you, because, listen, we got over 20, as I said, 2 decades of experience between the 2 of us, and we got a whole lot of stories about what not to do. We got the T-shirts. And we've coached thousands of students, so we've had the experience of dealing with them. And one thing that we can say, it works if you work it. It works if you work it.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, you can make $1 million in real estate. It's a simple, easy. It's not that difficult to do.
Right.
But again, you got to put forth the effort.
You got to prioritize.
You can't just go buy a course, put it under your pillow, and the next day you're going to work up.
Right. You see what Don did with what was his name?
Carlton Sheep.
And everybody bought Carlton Sheep program, so he's not the only one. And I buy stuff still be like, okay, it's this one, but you gotta finish the program.
I have a whole bookshelf full.
Yeah, I know.
That I've done that with from time to time.
Right. So we're gonna let you get out of here. Let us know what you think about the show. Subscribe to the show. Share with other individuals, and we'll see you back here next week.
Peace.
Remember, in order to get your money right, you gotta get your mind right. We out. The Odd Couple of Real Estate. Peace.